Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. I don't know what day it is. Not the 18th or 19th of September, maybe. 2025. It's 6:30 in the morning. Lovely clear sky. The sun's up. That's great. Hopefully, it'll be a reasonably pleasant, warm day. I'm off on my morning run, as you can see, and you've seen a few of my videos before, probably recognise this territory. I'm going to talk to you today in this video about running and safety, or running safely. And I'm prompted to do this because of something that happened yesterday. My son was driving home from the gym yesterday morning, and he was travelling on one of Goulburn's suburban streets, and not a busy multi-lane motorway or something like that. Just a normal suburban street. He's going in one direction. In the other direction are two school buses, and there are cars parked on either side of the road. So, not a lot of space to manoeuvre, and just ahead of him he sees somebody running on the road. So he gets home, or rather he points to the footpath to indicate to the runner that there is a footpath. The runner decides to flip in the bird, and they go their separate ways. No one was injured, no one was hurt, no near misses. It was not the safest thing to do. So he gets home and he says to me, "When you go running, where do you run?" Give me a blank look, and he explains what happened, and I tell him that I run on footpaths or paths like this wherever I can. I sometimes run on gravel paths, but wherever there's a footpath or something like that, I run on it. I try to avoid the road for the reason that I've just explained. There are sometimes when I run on roads, but I try to find roads that I know will have either very little traffic or no traffic, or they have a shoulder that is wide enough for me to run and for me to move safely onto to avoid any potential problem with a car. In a video I made a week or so ago, I was running on a road out of town that goes over the highway bypass, and there's a bridge crosses the bypass that has no footpath or running path like that. And I was as close to the edge of the bridge as I could be. It has railings and all that sort of stuff, safety barriers. A car came from behind me. I could hear it coming, and the driver would have been well and truly able to see me, but made no attempt to reduce his speed, or their speed, I don't know if it's him or her, and flew past me, blaring their horn. And I accept, and that is a reasonably busy road when I was on it, and I'm not asking for anything special, but it would not have taken more than a second or two of that person's journey just to slow down as they went past me. Runners aren't entitled to the road. It's a place for motor vehicles, and we hear enough about cyclists who are injured because car drivers weren't paying attention, or they opened their door without looking, or in some cases they were malicious perhaps. They turned off all their warning systems and they couldn't see the cyclist in their blind spot, made a turn without looking, whatever. So runners, we aren't entitled to the roads. And so you can run wherever you want. If you choose to run on the road, especially if there's a made path or a shoulder or somewhere that separates you from the traffic, and you do so at your own risk. Yes, we'd like all the motorists to be considerate and pay attention and stuff like that, but we know that in many cases they don't, unfortunately. So we run at our own risk, and safety is in part our own responsibility. So first of all, think about the place where you're going to run. Is there a footpath? Is there a made path? Is there a shoulder? Is there a way of avoiding the traffic, including the cyclists sometimes, some of whom will ring their bell or call out to you, but a lot who don't. Now the general, wider issue of safety in running, there's a few things you can do to make your run safer. If possible, and I have to say, I don't do these things myself, all of them. I have never felt unsafe, even allowing for the incident I mentioned earlier. I haven't felt unsafe in that regard, in regard to traffic or something like that, and I haven't felt unsafe in regard to perhaps being attacked by somebody. But I accept that others might have that feeling, especially women. So I suppose the first piece of advice I might offer you is to say, if it's possible, run with a group. As I said, I don't do all these things. I don't do that because I prefer to run at my own time and not have other people who might be dependent on me and they're waiting for me in the day. That day I just don't feel like doing it, or they don't turn up or something. If it's possible, run with a group, or if not a group, perhaps at least one other person. There's strength in numbers, as they say, and you can see the advantages of having someone else with you. Number two, try and run when it's daylight. That's not always possible, especially here in Goulburn in winter. You want to do your run early in the morning. It's not going to be daylight. Try and run in a place that is reasonably well lit. Along here, for example, these black poles are all solar lighting. Well lit areas are safer than the dark, poorly lit or unlit places. Wear bright clothing. Morning. Hello, doggy. Or this bloke coming up now, those high vis vests. If you wanted the being seen is part of being safe. The cyclist, the motorist, warning the other runners and the other people who are out and about can see you, and therefore there's less likely to be oh sorry mate, I didn't see you incident. If you carry your phone when you're running, and I don't, if you carry your phone when you're running, then perhaps turn on tracking so that if you don't arrive back at your home at a reasonable time and somebody's able to track you and where you are, in case you've had an accident, you've had a fall or something, and you're injured and you can't get up. And maybe you start off and you say to somebody, I'm going running, leave a note for your partner, whatever, say where you're going, turn on the tracking on your phone so they can see where you are. And as I said, if you don't get back in a reasonable time, they can access that, they call you and so on. And I'm aware of, again, all sorts of, how shall we say it, weird things that morning happen with people tracking your phone, that hopefully you have a partner who you can trust and I'd use that for what it's for and nothing else. There was a time when I was in Launceston in Tasmania, and I'd be running in the mornings when it was dark, just waiting for the sunrise, and I would see these bright lights coming towards me, and I began thinking of them as Daleks. So as you who know Doctor Who, you'll know who the Daleks are, because they were at that sort of height. Clearly they weren't cyclists, they weren't moving as fast as a cyclist was, and the light was, you know, at head height. There was people running and they had headlamps, those lights that you wear on a band around your head. And again, I admit to not doing that. But it is a good idea in terms of letting people know that you're coming, and also being able to see what's on the path or track ahead of you. Alright, those are my thoughts about safety in running. Wherever you are, enjoy your run, run safely. If you have a comment, then leave it in the comment section, obviously. As I say these days, please comment on the content. Excuse me. And when I become aware of your comment, I'll respond. Have a good day, whatever you're doing, and I'll catch you in the next running video. Thanks for watching.